Hey guys, good afternoon. How's it going? Can you hear me? Yeah, I think everything's working. I did not go to McDonald's today. I went yesterday, actually. This is actually an energy drink. I just figured I might as well not waste a perfectly good cup. So I got a haircut. What do you guys think? Hmm? My hair actually pretty much always looks the same. So I'm going to kind of wait a little bit and see if a few more people show up. It'll be more fun. Hey, Maribel. Hey, Molly. Hey, Olga. So last night I was not sure what this live was going to be about, and I almost thought about canceling it because, well, I didn't really have anything good to talk about. I thought, and then I came across this audio clip. I know it's old, but it really shows the lack of remorse of Chris Watts, how he's talking about getting out of prison. So I thought we would talk about that. And then from there, I've got like, I don't know, I guess we can talk about Nichol Kessinger. We can talk about the ping. We can talk about whether or not she was there. We can do all of that and just kind of hang out, have fun. You know, I feel like my lives have been kind of not getting good. I was doing really well for a while, improving. I feel like lately they've been slacking off. So um, I'm trying extra hard, just so you guys know. And I did put a poll. Hey, Static. If you want to join me later, I'll open up the link towards the end, and you can hop on and say hi. Yeah, I think that a lot of times with true crime, what happens is people come in like waves. Like I was like going up, and now it seems like my subscribers are still there, but they're not watching as much. And obviously, I have to think that that's because of my personality, my content. It is my channel, so I don't know. I know that talking has gotten easier, I think. It is definitely a grind. And it's funny, I was actually considering, well, I was like, man, this is so much work. Well, I'm finally about to give up. And then I get a email from vidIQ. I had a coach back in the beginning. The coach was great for probably the very beginning, but after that, everything's online. You don't really need a coach, but I still get emails from them, and they were like, "Are you feeling burned out? You're putting out such and such amount of videos every month. You don't want to get burned out. Most creators start to like just before they make it, they quit. Don't quit yet." So I'm like, okay, I know that email probably comes out regularly and it wasn't designed just for me, but I took it as an omen, a sign. Hey, don't give up just yet. Yeah, I've been thinking about trying to do some scary content. I do have that other channel, guys. It was my first channel, and I haven't really used it much. And I know I told my 7-year-old he could have it, but he hasn't been able to do it. Oh no, I'm freezing. It's not that cold out here, Olga. Let me see if I can. I don't know how well you guys need to see me, but maybe I can reduce the resolution some more. Actually, I don't think I can reduce it anymore. It's already reduced. And I deleted. That's probably why stuff is uploading again to OneDrive. Yesterday I decided to go through my files, try to sort everything out, and I found out everything is on my OneDrive, and I know that that's a bad idea to have everything on the cloud because, well, first of all, it's harder to move stuff around and sort things on the cloud, and, um, if for whatever reason the internet stops working, all of my half finished projects are in there and I have no access. So I took everything off of the cloud and then it took everything off of my desktop too. And it's kind of crazy. Maribel Static does have a channel. He has an interesting channel and I just kind of randomly reached out to him one time and then I didn't know he did lives at the time. And then I saw see that little face that he's got there in his image there. That's how he looks whenever he's doing a live stream. I guess it's kind of the talking head versus I don't want to show my face, and it seems to work. But he does shorts um, with a comic book style kind of imagery, which is kind of neat. But here I'm turning off the OneDrive again, which I hate doing because, especially with my Word documents, that's the only thing I really need on the cloud so I can access it on like whatever devices I have because I'm always writing content, like always. Today I spent a good almost 3 hours on a couple of lines, and I'm not kidding. Like, really, it was like 2 lines. It wasn't even a whole paragraph. It doesn't I don't always have to do that. I'm very appreciative that normally I don't have to do that. I can kind of like write what I want and say what I want and I just refine it later. But for whatever reason, I don't know. I spent a lot of time on that. Let me see. Maybe I can actually, do I still have it open? I can share that one. I don't even know if it's a whole 2 sentences either. It's like a, part of a paragraph. Here, I'll share it just before we get started because I am still waiting for you guys to show up, and then we're going to talk about Chris Watts. Okay, so this will give you guys a little bit of a preview of content that I'm working on. I'm actually, after we're done with this, I'm going to record it and edit the recording and start working on the video for it. That is my goal, to have it recorded and ready today. But let's see, where is the share button? Share window. There we go. So this highlighted paragraph here, if you can see it, I hope you can. Is it on the screen? It doesn't look like it is. Oh, I see what's wrong. Here, let me try this. There we go. See this highlighted paragraph. This is a story about somebody who died recently. And I don't know. This, I can't remember what it started out like, but it sounded weird. Like the flow. I was recording it and I'm reading it out loud and I'm like, holy crap, that sounds weird. And then, I don't know. I just had to keep rewriting it. I think it's a pretty good, like, what is it? There's a period, or is that, the homicide feels alien, period. That's one sentence. The shock travels outward as a soundless concussion. I hate using similes, but I've found out that I actually like the sound of as a something rather than like a something, which I do in all my conversations. It's like a bad habit. It's like a or a I say a lot and I can't help it. And it comes out of my writing in similes. And I don't know, I have like written this for like 3 hours, just this one little paragraph. And you can see the word count here. This is no short script. But yeah. Hey, Lucy, I'm glad you're here. We haven't really got started yet. I'm just kind of talking, but I think we'll go ahead and get started. I want to play this audio that I have of Chris Watts. I put a little background footage to give you guys something to look at, but it's really the audio of Chris Watts showing his lack of remorse publicly, basically, I guess he probably didn't intend for this to be public, but everything in jail is recorded and accessible to the public. So in that sense, he did. Um, but I just thought we would talk about that a little bit, and then um, we're gonna get into Nichol Kessinger and talk about her for a while too. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this.
I don't want to be the one monopolizing the conversation. So tell me what you want to know from me, or just tell me what's on your heart.
Well, just going in the law library as much as I have, I see a lot of cases. I've heard a lot of cases around here. I've seen a lot of cases where the DA or the judge have had a lot of misconduct, but the judge has ruled, say, well, it's not egregious enough, or it's not that that wow factor enough to really sway in the defendant's favorites. Now, I'm looking at the things that I know. I mean, I've never dealt with a lot of people with all this. I mean, I'm winging it in the law library as I am, and God directed me through little things like through the poisonous tree, the Brady law, and different cases that just it pop out of nowhere. But I know what God put in front of me, and I see all these things that relate to my case. I just don't know how to frame this. Where like when I do this 35C, I've had this paperwork with me for probably a couple months, and I know I only have a year left to appeal some of those Class B and C felonies. That's a 3-year limit, and or 2.
So I am going to pause it and remind you guys that this is an old recording, and I actually don't have this guy's name that he's talking to, but if you guys know it, please put it in the chat. But I just wanted to share it because I don't think this has changed very much, because after this, then he comes out with his letters to Chris Watts with Sherilyn Cade, right? That's her name, something like that. And he kind of does it again where he's not showing any real remorse. But in this particular one, he says, God doesn't want me in prison. God wants me outside. And it's a joke, right? It's like, did Chris Watts really just say that? Sherilyn Cade, yeah. Cadle, yeah. But Sherilyn Cade sounds like a good comic book name, actually.
Your limit, and I really want to figure this out where I can do it in the right time frame, but also not rushing anything. And I just want to get out of here. I want to get. I know that God has a plan for me, and it's to be in prison right now, but not stay here.
See, he says, yeah, it's God's plan for me to be in prison, but not major. I don't even know what language that is, but it doesn't sound like English to me. And he's basically saying, hey, I need to get out of here. I can't stay in prison. I wish I didn't do this, but I did. And you're stuck there, buddy. You're stuck.
I'm here for a reason. But you also want to do something on the outside. I know I just can't sit here and just wait. I know there's waiting, doing nothing, and there's waiting that seeking an action verb. That's what I'm doing. But I also want to know what action to take, because I have no intellect when it comes to the law. But I know he can teach me, and that's what I'm just waiting for. Things to fall into place. I still know how to do it.
I got you. And you don't have the benefit of an attorney that is in your hip pocket, so to speak. Okay, I've got a couple of attorneys here I can talk to that can maybe help get some good results, get some good advice for you in terms of forms and what to say, things like that. That's not going to be an overnight process for me to, get the results, we want. It's going to take some time, but, I'm not saying overnight, but I am saying maybe several days or a week or so. So let me see what I can do along those lines. Because I know you're in a tough spot. And it's how do you know how to do something when you don't know what it is you need to do? So it's.
Hey, Ron. Hey, Maria. I saw you coming in the chat. Yeah, Chris really thought that he could get out of prison. And, I think initially he actually may have had a small chance, but that change of plea where he gave up his rights kind of screwed him. Like he can't get, he can't, one of the things it says is you give up all your rights to appeal anything that was, done wrong. And after he's been in prison a little while, he's like, oh crap, this kind of sucks. I want to get out. What can I do to get out? You probably should have went to trial and, maybe some of that, some of the responsibility would have fallen on somebody else maybe, and maybe he wouldn't have got so many years. Maybe he shouldn't have done this at all. Maybe he should have seen the logic and what he was thinking, because there is none. There's no logic in this at all. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously he thought that he could get away with it, but yeah, it's crazy, man. The way he talks about this like this. And again, I don't think he could have gotten out. I don't think he can get out. I think if there was some real evidence that somebody else did the murders, then possibly he could. But other than that, it's not possible.
It's tough. So I get it.
It's trial by error thing, but I know when the law is like.
Something I thought about was initially he possibly could have said, I was so distraught. My mental health was in disarray when I made those confessions and I didn't know what I was saying. That might have worked initially. I mean, at least he would have probably gotten in front of a judge with that. I don't know if the judge would have ever accepted it. You can't do these kinds of crimes and then expect to really get away with it. Like he really expected to get away with it.
All right, you're gonna run into certain things where the motion's gonna get denied, or like whatever I write down, the judge might think, well, that's not that what you're claiming isn't enough to go back to. You're not warranted a trial. You're not warranted to have this appeal granted. Denied. Kind of like, well, what do I do then?
Yeah.
And I don't want to get disheartened when that happens. I know it'll probably happen at some point, but not all motions are all appealed or granted right off the bat. That's why I want to make sure I write this the right way. Where when it goes there, they see like, oh well, like, do I put everything down that I know, or just like I don't want to put everything down so they know everything that I'm on,
Well, okay, let me address a couple things in what you just said. First of all, you live in a closed society now. Every door is shut in your face. You cannot go from one. You go to one wall, you can't go further. You got to turn your left, you can't go any further. So you know what I'm saying? You're in this perpetual room with no door, so you cannot get through.
I never considered the prison a closed system, but it really is. And this guy's absolutely right. You when you're in prison, you don't just get to make decisions anymore about anything. Everything's completely controlled, unless you're in Gen Pop, which I guess is deadly if you're the wrong guy, like Chris is. Yes, Ron, this is definitely an older tape, but the point of watching it is to show everyone who hasn't seen it the lack of remorse in Chris Watts. And, it doesn't just end with this conversation. He had the letters from Chris Watts came out later that kind of does the exact same thing. He said other things with his cellmate, Dylan Tallman as well. So he's saying on the outside, oh, well, I have changed. God wants me out of here, and stuff like that. But there's no real remorse. It's an act that I think if he did get out and he was walking free today, everything that he thought he felt in prison would go away too. That that relationship he found with God would probably just go away if he was free.
You got that? You understand that? What I'm trying to say? So your world is controlled. You hear the word no probably more than you hear the word yes in that system. So one thing you need to be very accustomed to is being denied, being turned down, being told no. You with me?
Yep.
Okay. Now, some people will lose hope very, very quickly because everywhere they turn, every time they talk to someone, they're hearing things they don't want to hear. They're being told no. You can't do this. You can't have that. You can't go here. You can't go there. Whatever legal action you're trying to do. Whatever you're trying to do, you're always being told no. What you can't do is allow yourself to lose hope. Don't take no for an answer. And don't give up the first time you're told no. You understand?
Yeah.
So the key in all this is you got to be strong. You got to be physical.
Hello, Max's mom. I'm really sorry to hear what you've mentioned in the chat. My thoughts and prayers go out to you and your family. That's got to be difficult. I'm not very good at expressing that. I think I feel awkward, but yeah. I'm sorry that you're going through that. I lost my grandfather a few months back, and I kept meaning to call him, and I didn't get to. He got he had a surgery, and he got an infection from the surgery, and that's what happened. But yeah, I'm glad you're here. I was gonna say before I read that message was that I have a son named Max. So I'm Max's dad. But yeah.
Physically strong, you've got to be mentally strong. And you've got to understand that, you know what? You're the underdog, but underdogs can win. They can be a dog in the fight. So I want you to get this attitude that no matter what you do, we're not going to take no for an answer. They tell us no, we're going to try again. They tell us no again, we're going to try again. You've just got to keep persevering.
So does anyone know if they're still trying? Because I don't think that I think they took what this guy just said, don't take no for an answer. I think they did take it for an answer. I think Chris Watts finally realizes he's not going anywhere. But he's got a nice, comfortable private room in a maximum security prison. So he's protected from everything almost.
And don't lose hope, okay? Because I'll tell you what, you lose hope, you lose your life. All right? So just keep a positive attitude about all that and don't take any steps back. Just keep moving forward. Even if it's a small step, move forward and not backward. Okay?
Okay. Just like in my devotional today, it was Esther. It was a door of hope. And the Lord was speaking to Esther. And she was saying to the Lord, I've led you to the wilderness, but I will plant in that wilderness vineyards. If you go through the valley of Kor, which is the valley of trouble, I will put a door of hope. So even though you're in a wilderness, you're going to plant vineyards in that wilderness. Though you're in the valley of trouble, there's going to be a door of hope in that trouble.
That's great. Well, I'm proud of you. Good job. Keep that up. Keep your nose in that book too.
I will.
Yeah.
I just know that, like, I've never experienced anything like this before. Like, from the tragedy that happened, from the law enforcement to the interrogation, the jail, the prison. All this was new. Yep, all this was new. And I know that even though
Hey,
I've
how'd
never
that
had
picture get in there?
something like this happen before, I knew the shock. And
Hey, Cuff You, this is an old video, but I was basically, the point of listening to this is to prove to everyone how much this guy has zero remorse for what he did. He's got all of these excuses, and it doesn't end with this conversation. This was kind of at the beginning, and then he moves on, and then he's got these books with these accusations and stuff, and then he's got another book with even more. It's like, what's next? And now I don't think I ever heard this part of this where he says that God does not want me in prison. Well, maybe God does want you in prison. And I don't know, maybe he can actually help somebody who's not a lifer. I don't know. If you think about like fate and things like that, I mean, maybe, him being in prison changes somebody's life in a good way. I don't really see how, but yeah, Cuff You, if you want to jump in and talk about this in a little bit, I'll put in the link in the chat.
the trauma was there in my mind. I didn't know how to process it. Every question that they asked me, I was just agreeing with them and just going along with what they said.
I'm not sure how those other
and even when they came here
I made this
to
last night.
prison and interrogated me, they were in the street clothes acting like they didn't, they were just talking to me when in retrospect they were actually interrogating me again. And I know for a fact that, that interrogation they cannot use because they were here in Wisconsin and they're all Colorado based. So all that is like null and void, but still they're going to try to use all this stuff against me. But I know that from that interrogation to the first one, and all that was like
Yeah, Cuff You, I don't know his name. I thought somebody had told me it once before, but I can't seem to find it. But he was supposedly a private investigator, and I can't even confirm that. So we just know that he is at least intending to talk to attorneys at this point, and he's telling Chris that, hey, well, there are things we can do, and we are going to be told no a lot, but we'll keep pushing forward anyway. Hey, Jen. And it's really kind of an interesting conversation. I think it really says a lot about Chris Watts. I just can't believe he actually thought that God was trying to help him get out of prison.
like a coercive type psychological intimidation of someone that, had never been in that situation before, and they just use that to their advantage.
Well, Chris, what you witnessed firsthand is is a game. It's like getting back to the old biblical days where you've got the big Roman soldier in the pen with the little guy, and you're fighting for your life, and you don't know what to expect, but that's a terrible analogy, and I'm sorry, but I'm just saying, you just didn't know what was going on, and it's a game. That's what I tell so many people. This is a game that they're playing. You are the prey. They're the hunter. You're the prey, and they've got you exactly where they want you. And most times they're going to get what they want, because you know what?
That's kind of funny. Cuff You. I think this is, it's kind of I hate saying this. It feels like this conversation is a joke conversation. It's like, he really seems to think that he's got a way out. His only shot was going to trial and hoping that they had enough evidence to prosecute him, which I believe they did. They would have gotten it all. We've all looked at the discovery that they had. They would have gotten more discovery. There would have been more documents, more testing things, had this continued, but he confessed pretty early. So it kind of changed things. but it's just crazy to me that somebody can commit this kind of a crime and just be like, oh, well, God doesn't want me in here, so maybe I shouldn't be in here. Maybe this is my way out. It doesn't really work like that. Somebody mentioned that even a lie is one of the 10 commandments. And, I think that's I mean, I guess I believe in God and, I have religion and stuff. I'm not super religious or anything. And, I know everyone's beliefs are a little bit different. And I think that if I was to go by the 10 commandments, I think that lying would be my one thing that's probably going to prevent me from going on to the happily ever after. And I don't think it's like intentional lying. It's just like we lie, Hey, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing fine. That's a lie technically. How much money do you have? Oh, I got a few $100, but you got, exactly, a certain amount. That's kind of a lie, things like that. But yeah, let me just go ahead and finish this.
They keep you for hours. They deprive you of your basic needs. And as every second that you're with them in that chair and they're bearing down on you, your mind is actually deteriorating. Your mind is playing games against you. And that's why we have so many times where people give confessions.
His mind is playing tricks on him that he believes that he can get out at all and that he should be out
for things that they just did not do. And it's because, you know what? They want to get out of there. They want to just tell them what they need to know, what they're asking, what they're interested in, so they can get out and go home. Well, you know what? Guess what doesn't happen? They don't go home. And their life is forever changed. So it's...
Yeah, it was like after I told them what they wanted to hear, then they offered me food.
Exactly.
So strange. But the thing I know, like where you're talking about playing the game, is when the TBI agent and the FBI agent, like when the TBI hurt the woman.
Lucy says lies about what happened to 4 innocent people. That's totally a different story. Yeah, there are levels of lying. That's true. But as a kid, we lived across the street from a church, and the preacher there one day was like, a lie is a lie, and you better hope that you don't like die right after you tell a lie, because that's what's going to get most people to go to hell. I'm like 12 years old, and I'm like, what? But yeah, I guess there are variations in the lie, and half of the commandments kind of deal with the deception anyway, it seems like to me. But I really don't want to get into religion, but we can talk about right and wrong for sure. And I'm only bringing this up because Chris keeps talking about God, which, he very well may believe what he's saying. He may have found some kind of redemption in this belief that he has. And I mean, I can't deny him that. That's not for me to tell him that he is or isn't, in that spiritual place in his life that he's describing. But I just don't believe it. I think it's, it's just like on the surface. And if he got out, he wouldn't keep going that way. It's like you see a lot of things like this with people who have addictions. They find God, they get over their addiction, and then eventually they stop relying on God, and then they end up back with more problems because of their addiction. It's kind of the same thing in my mind anyway with Chris Watts. If he got out of prison, he wouldn't be forced to think about God all the time. And he should be focusing on, redemption, not getting out. He should be empathetic and, feeling sorry, trying to make amends some way, to do something good somewhere where he is. And he's not doing that. He's making excuses, and he's putting things on other people's shoulders rather than taking the responsibility himself.
when she like questioned me for hours, and then after those hours of interrogation, she puts me on a polygraph, and then I'm like, exhausted at this point. And then after that, like, I'm sitting in there alone, and I hear them. It's because the film intercom doesn't pick it up.
So, I'm watching this video. Last night, I spent a lot of time working on that. And it's funny that I'm seeing all the mistakes, but that's why I don't make videos fast. You miss things when you're, I don't know. I think I've seen the thank you about 10 times. It's unintentional.
I hear them outside the door. The FBI agent comes up to, how did you do? And she said, he did pretty good, but I think we get some more out of him. And they come in with this game face saying, okay, you lied. I'm thinking to myself, wait, I thought you just sounded pretty good. And I didn't question about it. I just believe what she said and I think that I made it. But I know for a fact she said, you did pretty good, but I think we get some more out of him. I'm just like, I'll only think about this stuff way after it happened.
All right, Chris,
like, wow.
Chris, that's a little game, and I can tell you for a fact that they did not administer the polygraph in the proper way. You should have been on the top of your game, mentally, physically, spiritually, when they gave you that polygraph. You should have had a good night's rest. You should have before they gave you that polygraph. So I don't trust the polygraph. I don't trust the results, and they use that as a hammer over your head to scare you, because the polygraph scares everyone because of its reputation. We can talk more about that later.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking another call. I think got like 30 seconds left, but I know that God can lead me on how to write this thing up to get it back, and I just thank you for helping me and just going into that discovery. I mean, you don't have to do it, but you're doing it. And I just believe that God's going to let some information on your heart that's really going to break this thing open too.
Good. We're with you.
That image of Chris crying always gets to me. It's like a joke kind of to me. Like it's like a fake tear. It's like something you see in the movies with the one streaming tear.
Break this thing open too.
Good. We're with you.
All right, he got cut off.
All right.
So that's all of that. Jesus, like this guy, I talk about this case a lot, guys, and it's just crazy to me that anyone could possibly come to this conclusion and do something like this. Like, no matter how hard it gets, it's like the last possible thing that comes to my mind. The only reason why I think about it is because, like, I'm wondering why he did it, but I would never consider it. It's like, I don't know. I don't think I would even threaten anyone that way. Like, it just doesn't seem like something that would come out of my mouth, and, but guys, I put the link in there. I can have up to 8 people on. I was going to save it till the end of the show, but if you guys want to hop on now, the link is in the chat. I have a bunch of stuff I wanted to rant about, but maybe I could save that for another time. We can just hang out. But yeah, Chris Watts is one of those stories that just kind of haunts a lot of people because he seems so normal. This was a man who presented himself as a loving husband. He's seen in video after video on Shanann's website that way. But now he's stuck in a jail cell in isolation to prevent other people from, hurting him. Ron, John List is a scary man as well. And he is exactly like Chris Watts. The main difference is that John List came to his decision based off of religion, and he was supposedly trying to save his family from going to hell by ending their lives so they couldn't commit any more sins, which I don't think it works that way. But he wrote a letter to his pastor. I think he was Lutheran, right? And man, that guy is scary as well. I've done some research on that case, and I've actually made videos on that case. I don't know that they're on this channel though, but I don't know. They weren't done very well. But I need to rework that one. I think I don't know. I've actually wanted to spend a lot of time talking about family annihilators in general and actually comparing Chris Coleman, Chris Watts, John List. There's a couple women, John List. Let me see if I can find the video. I believe it's on my old channel that never got monetized, and you guys can see how terrible my videos were. The scripts were still pretty good, but they were works in progress. Obviously, that whole thing that Mr. Beast says about your first 100 videos are going to be terrible no matter what you do is kind of true. So let me see if I can find it. It might be on this channel, actually, now that I think about it. But I'll check over here first. So I'm not sure why Deliberately Deadly didn't get monetized, but I had enough subscribers. I had more subscribers than I did on Timeless Mysteries. But it was like the YouTube gods hated my channel. I thought it was the thumbnails. It wasn't the thumbnails. Maybe it's the name, Deliberately Deadly. The idea behind that name was that, we were going to be talking about, murder. So it kind of has a play on words with deliberate and, these are people who kill intentionally. I don't know. Maybe that's why. But let me see if I can find the video. Yep, it is on here. I'll share it. And I'm not going to play it all because it's actually kind of, it's actually interesting, but it's long-winded and kind of not very well made. So just a warning. So Static, if you're interested, you can hop on. I sent the link in the chat. Stop screen share. And Cuff, you're also welcome. Anyone, actually, if anyone wants to hop on here and say something about Chris Watts, you're more than welcome to. So let's see. There we go. This was my first channel after my ghost channel. And you can see right off the bat how there's no opening hook.
Imagine yourself driving through the
Kind of a
tree-lined
long
streets of this
opening.
picturesque town. Each house more beautiful than the last. The dream home you've always wanted. You find yourself longing, wishing one day to be part of this haven's postcard perfection. It's a place where dreams seem to live and breathe within the very bricks and mortar.
You're wondering what that
But
blurry
then,
spot is?
in the quiet aftermath,
I
of
had
an
to cover
ordinary
up a
day,
bunch of
a
things. I
chilling
think
headline cuts through the fantasy. A family
that.
brutally murdered inside
you can't
the
really
safety
see
of
anything
those
in the
walls.
image, but
Suddenly, your dream
kind
becomes
of
a
can.
nightmare.
You don't need to see
Nestled
those.
in the heart of Westfield, New Jersey, with its tree-lined streets and stately homes. The List family portrayed the epitome of a serene suburban existence.
This
A
is almost
sprawling
identical to the
mansion,
Chris Watts
a
story.
devout father, a caring mother, and 3 vibrant children, the embodiment of the American
That's
dream.
not a real image.
Yet, beneath this
But it's
facade
fucking
of perfection and
gory.
harmony, a darkness lurked, culminating in a horror that would upend the idyllic images etched in the town's collective memory. On November 9th, 1971, the unimaginable actions of one man shattered that tranquility. John Emil List methodically murdered his entire family, leaving behind a home that had transformed from a sanctuary into a tomb. John
He
List was
got
born in
remarried, actually.
1925 into a Lutheran family, where he developed a rigid,
I can't remember exactly off the top of my head how long it took, but he got remarried. I'm gonna see if I can find it in here. I think it's about there. Let me reshare this.
blew up and said she wanted her name taken off the church rolls. Again, this could only have an adverse result for the children's continued attendance. So,
Maybe not.
at least I'm certain that all,
I could probably
therefore,
Google it faster, but
knowing that she is also
it's in
a
my video
Christian,
somewhere. But he moved to, I think, like Colorado. He had another wife even. I don't think he had any more children, but he basically got away with it. They didn't know that the children were even missing. Anyone was missing for a while. So I'm going to add a guest here, guys. This is Static Veil. He is wearing a mask, but he is friendly. Hey, Static, how's it going?
Hey, everybody. Not too bad yourself, Rob?
Not too bad.
Working hard as always?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like I never get a break. So do you know much about the John List case?
John List, not really. I was a little bit more familiar with the Chris Watts, the one that you were talking about.
Yeah. Well, let's hear your thoughts on Chris Watts.
You see, this one hit home, right? Because I'm a father of girls. I'm sure everybody that's a father of girls definitely did not like what this man did. And so I was going to do a short on it, actually, and then it just, I don't know. The research got to me, man. I don't know how you could shove your 2 kids down an 8-inch hatch into oil jums. It's mind-boggling how these people, or how their mind would even process doing something to that extent to your own children. It's like, that one was hard.
The first time I heard about it, the first time I wrote about it, it was back in 2023, and I got to the part where the children were killed, and I had to stop. I couldn't do it. I got real emotional. I stopped. The next day I finished writing it, and every once in a while that still happens to me. It's hard when children are involved, even if you had any child or nephews and nieces or friends with children that you're close with. I mean, it's just insane to me that anybody could do this to a child. And I agree, the disposal, the cover up was way worse than probably the crime, which is like hard to, I don't know, like it doesn't process like how, I don't know, they're equally terrible, and it's just horrifying.
Oh, absolutely. When I started getting into this hobby, true crime's a passion. I got into it because I enjoy true crime, but you don't realize when you actually become a true crime content creator how many of these cases actually involve children, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. Like the one that you commented on about the Girl Scout murders of my one short, man, that one was hard. And then when you sent me some information by email and I read it, that was hard too, man. That was a hard, deep research. But it's in familicide cases, like you gotta baseline, like, what's the person like? Did he snap? Was this premeditated? You know what I mean? Like even snapping, like, we'll all have human emotions, right? So there's the chance that we're going to have strong emotions for something. But what compels like an individual to do something like that? You know what I mean? Like it's hard to fathom and process. Like,
Well, what I've come across through other research, and when you kind of look into the psychology of it all, it starts with the fantasy, right?
yeah,
Like, I'm daydreaming at work about, being home, not doing anything, right? But some people are fantasizing angrily about, this is what's wrong with my life. This is what I need to fix. And, it starts as a thought. And in if you look at like the Chris Coleman case, it's another familicide case, and he planned it for a long time, and he lived in that fantasy that he was going to get away with it. I'm not
yeah.
100% sure that Chris Watts had that same fantasy, but I mean, he was definitely
Well,
living a a secret life with his girlfriend,
mhm.
making plans with her that were never going to come to
Well,
fruition. Is
correct
that
me if I'm wrong, but he murdered Shanann what really close to after she came back from a business trip at like 5:15 in the morning or something like that.
yeah, Shanann,
Or Shanann,
I
sorry.
don't, yeah, I don't know that they have an exact time, but we see her coming home at like 1:30 in the morning
Oh, from the
approximately,
the
and we
CCTV
know that
neighbor footage.
we see Chris leaving his property at like 5 something in the morning.
Yeah,
So some
loading gas into his truck, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When
So,
you're when you research this and you watch those videos of the truck, don't be fooled. There's a lot of fake footage out there.
oh, I
just,
bet.
just, just to warn you. There's some that looks like there's two people in the driveway. I don't know if that's real. The one that I can't tell if it's real or not is the one where the dome lights inside the truck. Come on. Uh,
Oh,
there's like the thought, there's like two like scenarios if he killed the children at the home or if he did it at the oil site, and he says both things. I think in his letters book he actually says he killed them at the home, but in the 2019 interview with Tammy and Coder, he says that he did it at the oil site. But it was like a 45-minute drive there, and it seems like that would be such a long time to be thinking this way and actually get there and not change your mind,
yeah.
like, I mean, that as a writer, like as a plot goes, like that's what I would imagine happening to almost anyone. Is they would, that much time passes, you're not going to be as angry and enough to you have to have a massive amount of anger to be able to do this to someone, let alone do it in succession, one
Yeah.
after the other. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I do believe it was premeditated though, so I got no sympathy for the man. Absolutely not. Um, there would have been a huge argument if he just snapped because him and Shanann were having an argument. Nobody heard that, right? You could correct me if I was wrong. Um,
Yeah.
and it was too close from her coming back from that business trip. That makes me think that this was definitely something that he had been thinking about, like you said, the fantasizing thing.
Mm.
I You know what? I agree with you. Hey, I fantasize all day long at work about the shorts I'm going to post to my 209 subscribers. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
different trains of thought, and it's like what compels somebody. Like it's like I said, as a father to father, like some of these cases are hard to research. Like,
Yeah, anytime there's a child involved, it's really difficult, and you got to be careful too. Just to warn you, because I experienced it myself. But as you write the content, when you're actually going in and thinking about how people are thinking, and you're trying to express that, you actually have to internalize the crime more. And secondary trauma is real. It's one thing for all of you who are watching this right now. You're being subjected to this crime, and you never know when that secondary trauma is going to like really affect you. And it's worse when you write about it.
yeah,
You have a bigger chance. And I know that whenever I was trying to do a bunch of shorts, I did like 20 of them in a week. That was hard. I actually had to take like a month off. I was still doing some, but not like I was, because you start thinking differently. Like you see the guy walking his dog down the street and you're thinking about, you know, um, the Golden State Killer, who would stake out houses that way. You know, he would just go jogging or walking down the street looking for, you know, stuff. I mean, it's just crazy. I don't know. But with kids, especially like the Travis Decker story, I was going to talk about it, and I've been wanting to talk about it, and I just can't do it. And the one detail that like really hammered home to me was that these children were in community theater. They had like friends and people who didn't know them who actually loved them, and you know, and it just blows my mind. You know, the father, you know, makes all other fathers look bad. He was having like spousal revenge is a real thing, and you know, I hope they
Yeah,
catch
I
him.
can get the spousal revenge. See, I could, you know, I don't want to say that I can get it in the sense that I sympathize with these people, but the spousal thing, sure, but it's when it comes to your own children, it's like that's a thing that I can't fathom. It's, you know, there's crime of passion, stuff happens, right? So it's like you can never condone what these people do, but it's the point that brings them to that edge where they're going to do this to their own children. Oh, I don't know what happened there.
Your
Oh,
battery's
it's
going
flipping. There
low.
you go. You guys got a treat now.
You're gonna have to show us your real face here in a second.
There it is.
But yeah, with what was I gonna say? Yeah, so what brings them to that point? It's the thing with these types of killers, the family annihilator, any killer really, they objectify the people that they kill. So if a parent will, you know, assume that their children aren't people anymore, that they're them somehow, and you know, whenever they take the life of their own child, it's not the same as killing someone else in their crazy brain. I think, but it's
Yeah,
the well, just like when I drive, I guess I never thought about it. But sometimes I don't see the other cars as people driving cars. I see them as the white car, the red car, that kind of thing, you know.
yeah,
um, they're objects, not people. And since I've discovered that, you know, I probably shouldn't do that, I don't get mad when I get cut off. You know, it's probably just an
yeah,
accident.
yeah. Well,
But you
there's
know,
normal.
yeah. So, what do you know about Nichol Kessinger?
See, I haven't. I'm not too versed with that one either. I got to research these, but
Well, I've got a lot of stories on Nichol Kessinger on my channel, where I went through a bunch. There's a big, let me just tell you, there's a huge conspiracy on whether or not she was involved or not involved. Um,
oh, with Chris Watts, that's the secret girlfriend, is it not? Or
yeah, there was
yeah,
the phone.
okay.
She showed up at his property the day, according to her cell phone, like that morning.
Sorry, guys,
It,
I'm having a technical difficulty.
here, if you want, you can turn off your video till you get it fixed. Your mic
There we
should.
go.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you were just waving, you know.
Oh no, no, no! That switches the mask. It's got like 550 different faces on this thing. So
Wow. Yeah, I'm just teasing you.
no, I know. But
But
yeah,
what
Nicole,
do you
you know,
guys
I got
think in the chat? Let me know. Nichol Kessinger, was she there? Was she involved? And if she was, how involved was she?
yeah, for sure, for sure. No, I'm gonna research it so I could be a little bit more conversational next time we talk about this. If it's a secret girlfriend and I think it's premeditated, I'll already give you my theory that I do agree. Yeah, she probably did for sure. Like to compel a man to kill his wife and his children, there had to have been an exterior motive or an agenda of some kind. Absolutely. And especially to think you're crass thinking enough that you're going to get away with it is absolutely mind boggling. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like some of them, like we were discussing, it's so hard for writers and content creators with the secondary trauma. There's cases I will not touch and there's shorts that I will not. So
Yeah. Maribel, I just want to tell you about Nightbot. I actually changed a bunch of those today, finally. But I always forget to tell you guys to please like and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you like hit the notification bell. I always forget to do that. So that's why Nightbot is telling you guys those things. Hey, Darlene. Darlene says, I will always believe Nichol Kessinger was involved. I've never seen such a liar and such a bad actress as her in the police interviews. And Static, if you haven't seen those videos, watch them. Like, she never once says, that she has any empathy for the people who died. It's all about me. Well, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my job? What's going to happen to my life? I had to delete everything off of my phone because I was so traumatized. Those things is what she said. And it's crazy to me because the number one red flag is that she deleted everything on her phone.
Absolutely.
They can't guarantee that they can get 100% of that information back after it's deleted. Even if they can get some of it, they can't get all of it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they got or didn't get. They probably corroborated some of it with Chris's phone, but we don't know. Hey, Lucky.
What's up, guys? And make sure, like he said, share and like. Let's get Rob some people in here. But I agree. Especially from a psychological or social science standpoint, if she's victimizing herself and just worrying about what's going to happen to her in the situation, then that definitely, triggers a red flag for me for guilt too. Because usually if somebody is not guilty in a situation or oppression, even anxiety, you're going to be asking, are the kids okay? What happened? This and that, you know what I mean? Like, instead of projecting on what's going to happen to yourself. So that, I don't know her too well or haven't researched her too well, but from what you've already told me, I'm going to probably put my stakes in the fact that she had something to do with it. And that Chris definitely, it was premeditated. It had to have been. That's my theory. That's what I'm sitting on.
Yeah. The thing is, there was a phone call that lasted 111 minutes the night before Shanann came home.
Okay.
So this happened I think Shanann got home at 1 something in the morning. The phone call happened at 10 something, maybe 11-ish. I don't have the exact times right off the top of my head, but they talked about something, or this new scenario that I've kind of been thinking about is, what if they just connected their phones and then went and did something else, like maybe pre-dig the hole.
Yeah.
Try to dig a hole and couldn't do it. I don't know. It's hard to say what happened. Nichol Kessinger says, "Oh, I can't remember what we talked about for that almost 2 hours that we were on the phone together."
Oh, yeah.
That's suspicious right there, right? And then in the same sentence, she's talking about something she did last week or the week before in very detailed, recollection. It's crazy. Yeah, Cuffy, if you want to join as well, the link is still in there. Let me see if I can repost it. You can join us as well. I know Cuffy knows more than I do about this case. I'm always learning something. And the funny thing is, with this case, it's almost all speculation. Even the details that they have in discovery haven't been fully vetted either. So it's hard to know what is real. Plus, the killer is a liar. We saw him lying,
I won't lie to you, Rob. I was going to do a short on it until I got to the part about the girls, and I couldn't.
What you could do, what I've done in most of my Chris Watts videos, is just leave that part out. And I've simply put in, and then the children died too, and then you just don't have to imagine it yourself. Don't have to cause that trauma on yourself. But Darlene,
and don't get me wrong, I wear the spooky mask. There's not a lot of cases I won't skip. So, but yeah.
I think real horror is scarier than fiction. I have a harder time talking about it. Even now when I'm watching crime scene investigation, the CSI stuff, it's like I cringe a little more than I used to, because I know that some of it's real. I think it's in some ways better to not know that the killers are out there. There was times I met a creepy guy at a rest stop on the top of a pass in I think Montana somewhere. I was 3 hours from anywhere, and there was only one rest stop, and this guy was creepy, and he like followed me for like 2 hours. And what if that guy was a killer, like looking
Yeah.
for easy prey? They look at rest stops. I met a guy
Yeah.
at
Yep.
I was camping in the middle of nowhere. Like, you had to find this place by mile markers. There wasn't a designated place to camp or anything like that. And I was camping with a friend of mine, and this guy pulls up in an RV, and we're talking to him, and then we notice he's got like a revolver in his, like, on his hip, and he saw us see it, and he's like, "Oh, hey, it's okay. I just got that for bears and snakes. It's no big deal." And
Mhm.
we immediately relaxed. But you know, what if you know, what if he was one of these monsters? Like, that's where they would be hunting for people, campsites, rest
Rough
stops, places
stops.
where people are
Yeah.
isolated. It's scary.
Oh,
But
yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to say, oh, that's not the one. This
I have the
sorry.
only close encounter I've ever had, and this is actually pretty unique, I guess. But my wife had to calm me down in the situation. Speaking back on the tempers and emotions, but I'm Canadian, and I'm pretty sure you know that. But if
I
you
knew
ever,
that.
everybody knows about Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka, right? So, anyways, we live not too far from where Carla set up her family with that lawyer after she got out of jail. And she was in our local Walmart while me and my wife were there. And being a true crime junkie and content creator, I knew right away it was her. And the things I wanted to say, Rob, if it wasn't for my better half.
Mm.
But
Yeah, I
it's
think.
being in the vicinity of pure evil like that. I just felt sick to my stomach. Like, that's the one takeaway from that experience I have. Even my wife said because she's into the true crime too. She's kind of the one that nudged and motivated me to do this. So, but anyways, after we left, she was saying how sick to her stomach she was too. Like, it's just, I don't. It's just being around people like that, close encounters, and like you said, knowing that they're out there, it's terrifying, especially as a father.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I think it's important to, that anger you feel. If you see somebody that you think is guilty of something, call the police. Don't don't take it into your own hands, because then you'll
No,
be the
no,
one in
no,
jail.
absolutely. Just
But the
wrestling.
thing
We
is,
were,
this happens. I think there was like somebody threw bricks through Shanann's parents' home whenever there was some conspiracy theory that they were actually somehow involved in her death. It's crazy. I mean, I just wanted to say that, just to put it out there so everyone knows, calm down a sec, make sure, call the police, let them handle
yeah,
it, because you're going to be the one in jail, and then you're going to be the new true crime story. And it's probably
yeah,
not as
exactly.
glamorous as you think, because I can't imagine what Nichol Kessinger has to go through, because she has to stay in hiding. She went to a funeral
Yeah,
and a video leaked. It's like she can't leave her house. But Darlene Johnson said that they rehearsed that interview before they even pressed record. So that's interesting to me. So Nichol Kessinger was in that interview room, and then they talked about what they were going to say beforehand. That's kind of crazy. There was, I think, several interviews. And I know that the one with her dad in there was kind of weird, because they like avoided saying certain things. And, um, you know, I've always said it, but red flags don't necessarily make you guilty of anything, but it makes you suspicious, and it needs to be fully vetted before, you just get to go. And other people argue that, well, you have the right to be thought of innocent. You shouldn't have to prove your innocence. And that's also true. Um, but there's just too many red flags and not enough answers. That's why people keep talking about Nichol Kessinger and her involvement in this case. I believe that at the very least, the pressure from her to get an apartment pushed Chris Watts over the edge. She was like, Chris, you need to get out of that house. You got to get away from your wife. Here's the apartment. Go look at it. Go look at it. And he says, I will go look at it. But he never does. Um, and she kept pushing him. And it could have been just that alone. I don't know. It's hard to say. I doubt we'll ever know, even if both Chris and Nichol like got in an interview together and explained everything. I don't think anybody would believe everything that they say. There's just too much speculation out there at this point.
In the end, she's still a human being too, right, Rob? So it's like it's hard to determine. It's the cell phone wiping that you mentioned earlier that's really throwing me off. But I mean, the recalling certain things and then being nervous when asked about the conversation she had with him and stuff could be basic human emotions, defense mechanisms. I mean, the situation, if she is innocent, that's got to be a traumatizing situation for her too, right? To be implicated in something like this. And you said it yourself, she's got to go into hiding probably because everything that's coming her way, which is not right because, I fully believe in innocent until proven guilty, right? So until something hard comes through, I think people should back off a little bit. I mean, you can speculate. Everybody's allowed to speculate. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinion. But until somebody is solid, infactual, guilty of something, I mean, don't ruin somebody's life, right? Because what if it does come out that she is absolutely innocent and she was just nervous and forgot the conversation she had as what do they call that? Compartmentalizing, where they... she could be so nervous and so disgusted in the situation that she just doesn't want to think about it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it could be something like that. And I mean, there's a lot of scenarios where maybe she is completely innocent. But the part that gets me is that they didn't continue investigating her after her phone got wiped. So that tells me she knew what happened and she told the detective at some point, hey, this is what happened. This is where he went. I know he was there. I know he did it. And then, that would, she's sitting with a victim advocate at one point, So, I mean, there's that scenario that's also possible. We just really don't know. But we can see the lack of empathy. We can see the lies. We can see that she tried to cover up something. And we hear her say that, I asked him to go look at this apartment. And I told him how close it was to my house and how good it would be. And I mean, so there's that also. So she has, she's vested herself in this relationship.
Yeah.
She's got stakes in this. She has motive for this.
It's so strange that they didn't pursue her farther, because if she's the affair of the guilty party, like they will put you under a microscope whenever there's a murder involved with an affair. You know what I mean? Like that's strange to me too. And back to the conversation about her being a human being, but wiping a phone, like that's a big no-no, and that should have been pursued, like you just said, for sure. Like, I'm sorry, but where I'm from, if you're in an affair with somebody and one of their family members, usually the wife that gets murdered, you're getting looked at too, like scrutinized from top to bottom. And if you were to delete something off your phone, you're getting charged 100%.
Yeah. Darlene says that her phone pinged at Chris's house that morning. I'm interested in that only because what if she was there, right? And then, she didn't clock into work that morning. So what if she actually showed up to work an hour late? And, that kind of like puts her at the crime scene, possibly.
Yeah. Helping them clean up.
She Googled Amber Frey, right? That's the mistress of another killer who murdered a pregnant woman, his pregnant wife. But that woman, I had a video on that as well, where, hey, Cuffy, you can jump on if you want. Let me see if I can post the link again. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So Amber Frey, she goes straight to the police. She gives the police everything. She is completely appalled. She is very remorseful. She is like completely different personality than Nichol Kessinger, like 100% different. And when you look at Amber Frey and she does all of this despite what it does to her own reputation, she seems like she's honest, like 100% honest. Hey, Cuff, you.
Hey, Cuff.
Hey, how you doing? Wait, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, sorry about that. I was I'm listening to you guys talk about this subject, and I know Rob, you and I have talked about it one time before about the 111-minute phone call, and I thought your observation about them leaving the two phones together somewhere is very possible. And I told you about the other channel that I know you like, Rob, too, Unapologetically Me. She's fantastic, and she believes, kind of along those same lines, that there was no conversation on that call. So the phones were just on somewhere. You know what I mean? And I mean, I know people may think that sounds really far-fetched, but it's really not. You know what I mean?
No.
And yeah,
To me,
and
it sounds like, premeditated. Hey, let's let's give ourselves an alibi.
Yeah.
We're talking to each other. We couldn't have been there at that time.
right.
And I mean, it doesn't take an extremely genius human being to figure something like that. Like,
Oh, right. So, and then the other thing is, I don't know, man. I just, for him to have done that to his family and to be so stupid
yeah.
to take them to the place he works to dispose of them. I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like, how did put the sheet in the garbage can, the doll in the other garbage can? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? It's like he had no. And if Nicole's so smart, why didn't she help her dumb boyfriend? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Well, the children too, they were put in separate oil drums, right?
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
the
so
thing is,
see,
he left a sheet there to kind of mark the grave, like it was just blowing in the wind.
And
because it was Shanann that was put
over the place. Like
Yeah.
the first thing they see is the sheet, and they're like, "Well, that doesn't belong here."
Right.
So
yeah.
So he put Shanann in a shallow grave, and then the two girls in an oil drum. So he tried harder to hide the two girls than he did to Shan. So he was definitely guilty, and it was premeditated. He knew that from the start, because if it was just a spur or a spree or a temper snap, he would have put both girls in the same drum.
Right.
Well, see, I think what happened was he was trying to dig the hole before his coworkers showed up, and he couldn't dig it.
Yeah.
It's hard to dig a hole, right?
It is. People don't understand that.
I don't know how. I've tried to. I had to dig. I was in Arizona, so the ground is obviously different.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I had to plant a tree, right? And you got to dig a hole, 3 or 4 feet deep, and it's hard. It's hard work. You got to like wet the ground. You got to break the ground. You got to keep digging, and it just takes hours. Unless you got like a tool, a power shovel thing.
Yes.
A trencher or something.
Or like a backhoe or something.
But yeah, exactly. It's hard to dig a hole. And I think what happened was he was digging a hole and he's like, oh crap. What do I do now? I can't dig this.
Yeah.
They're going to show up soon. And I think that explains the sheet as well. He left in a hurry to get away from there and just try to,
but if you're leaving in a hurry because of coworkers, you wouldn't shove two children in two different oil drums. It'd be in the same.
I think he did that because if he put them in one, it would be more likely that it would cause a clog.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, and the thing about
because they pull the oil out of there, it gets drained every so often.
They had to. Yeah.
And if something like blocks the hole, they're going to find out what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's smart. That's logical too. Yeah.
But I'll have to find this too. And Rob, I'm psycho about this case. It's like I don't know, man. I just can't let it. And I loved, the fact that Shanann was having Nico and all that, but it's just the girls. It really bothers me. And so, as far as them I've done a lot of research on this too. And there's also, I can't remember who the creator is, but he actually worked on oil rigs like that, things like that. And so he has a lot of knowledge about what the oil was in the tanks and all that. So I've even watched that. And he said that the girls would have literally disintegrated. They'd been gone, no trace of them. So, and I'm not like patting him on the back. I'm just saying, if he'd not been stupid enough to think that Shanann's body, which was like, 200 yards away from the parking area, okay, let's just be honest, wouldn't decay and cause odor, and you know what I'm saying, that kind of
An
thing.
animal would have likely
Yeah,
found it.
yeah.
It wasn't going to just stay there. The rain, if it rained, you know,
Yes.
it's going to like come up out of the ground. Like it wasn't a good plan at all. You know, but the idea that the oil would hide the evidence like permanently, it all comes back to Nicole Atkinson, you know, calling about her friend who didn't report to her like, hey, I was going to tell you all about this doctor's appointment, but hey, I'm not answering my phone right now. And she thinks,
Right.
let's call the police. You know, she knew
Yeah.
something. She knew that they were arguing and she felt that he could have done something. And that's why she called the police. And she
Yeah.
knew something happened to her, especially when they saw
Yeah.
the car in the garage and then her purse
Right.
was there, her phone was there, her medication was there. Like it all started like, you know,
Yeah.
in her brain, she's hoping that she's wrong, right? Like you have
Right.
to hope that. And then it just like
Yeah.
little by little, just like more and more stuff pile on and you
Mhm.
can't like, you can't, you know, it's like more and more proof. You can't deny it anymore. Chris
No.
did it. You know, my question is, did he have help? If
Yep.
there was 2 shovels in his truck, I mean, did he bring 2 shovels?
I
Because
know.
what if one breaks, right? Or you know,
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on with that.
Well, there's been this theory that him and Nicole, and the other thing that bothers me is that there was no cameras out there. I don't know, man. At least I was thinking like just one camera. I don't know. Anyway, but there's a theory that him and Nicole actually were out there the night before, preparing, like digging the hole. And I'm like, okay, well, if you were out there the night before and you couldn't do a better hole than that, you know, I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, it's hard to say for sure. But if they were out there the night before, that's exactly why they were like had their phones on pretending.
Yep.
But
That is exactly why I said that, Rob, because you think about that. I mean, you know, they could have driven out there with their phones off as far as what was it, like 45-minute drive out there, and then or left their phones at home or on, like we talked about, or
well, if it was
whatever.
45-minute drive, you know, it doesn't really give them enough time, I think, to drive out there. They probably started digging a hole and realized how hard the ground was, maybe, and
Yeah,
then came
yeah.
back. But there wouldn't be a lot of room unless they're like, you know, going really fast. I don't know. I see the holes in that just from the time, but I don't know. It's as good as any theory, I think.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened. We just know
Right.
that they found the spot really fast.
Yeah.
I don't know if Nichol Kessinger told him to go check out there, told the police to go check out there, or if they were just going to go check out there anyway because Chris was there that morning.
You know,
and
it's really funny because I say this all the time that, I mean, God bless his heart. Chris was not, he was like as dumb as a stump when it comes to this whole thing. I'm like, dude, I mean, you know, and then, you know, even this is like crazy, but I mean, we all know like he relieved himself out there as well. And so it's like, you
I
know
didn't
what
know
I'm
that.
saying? Oh, yeah, he did. He absolutely did. Which I
Hmm.
can imagine they have to do that occasionally. You're out in the middle of nowhere. But I mean, you know, the same day that you bury your wife and put your 2 children in an oil tank. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. He's not the most intelligent person. I'm sorry. I don't care what his IQ is. There's street
Well,
smarts,
you
common
know,
sense, and book smarts, in my opinion, you know?
there was this whole story about a 4-wheeler that he sold and like they owed money on it. That's why they were selling it. They were still paying it off, and he sold it for like $2,000 or $3,000 cheaper than what their loan was. You know, that kind of thing seems like it happens a lot to him, like the not thinking things all the way through thing.
Yeah. I just noticed Mally said, what'd she say? She said that she thinks that Nicole was responsible for the girls, that she's the one that hurt the girls. And I kind of agree with that. And here's one more thing I'll say too, and then I'll quit, you know. But I think Shanann was taken down the minute she walked in the door. I literally, I think she was taking, the minute she went in that door, they took her down, or he took her down. Like, I think he probably put his arm around her neck and did that sort of a, you know, that's why there were no handprints on her neck, that kind of thing. I just don't even think she made it past that little area right there before he took her down. I don't. So, you know, I don't, and Nicole Atkinson has her own channel, and actually she did, like a few days ago, talk about this. Like, she talked about it and how it's affected her life, which she hasn't done up to this point. So, and it's under her name. So if you guys want to check that out, it's really touching and really heartfelt. You know, she's obviously got PTSD and, you know, lives with it every day. Plus, she has a lot of really bad health problems too. So anyway, but she has a lot of inspirational stuff, but she finally did break down and talk about this case. So, you know, you might want to catch that if you can. But I'm going to jump off. Thanks for letting me come up. And I will go like your channel. What's the name of your channel? I'm sorry, I saw it, but I can't find it in the chat now.
Oh, the Static Veil. Yeah.
Put the link back in the chat. Let me see if I can.
Yeah.
I'll go sub up.
It's an acquired taste, so hopefully you enjoy it.
Oh, listen, Rob knows me. I'm being nice tonight, huh, Rob?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for letting me come up.
All right,
Rob.
thanks, up you.
All right, bye-bye.
All righty then, Rob. I think I'm gonna hop off there too. But
okay, that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and I just found like the first video that popped up. So
okay, I'll watch it with you, and then we'll get off. Yep, or I'll get off.
I don't even know which one it is, but I found it, and so it pops up in my feed randomly sometimes. Hopefully, it's not just your channel trailer. Might be.
Oh,
you love.
Wow.
You like true crime?
Oh, it
you
is.
love
Trailer.
retro
Right here.
1980s horror comics? Then
We can watch
welcome
that,
to the
and then I'll play
Static
video.
Veil, where every story drips with ink and terror. Subscribe if you dare.
oh, that's an older one.
You love retro 1980s horror.
This is his channel. So let's see. Where's that Girl Scout one? Unless you don't want me to play that one.
No, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, no, it's fine.
3 little girls went to camp and never came home. June 1977, Camp Scott, Oklahoma. Lori, Michelle, and Denise were found in their sleeping bags. Their lives had been taken. A red flashlight and bloody shoe print were left behind. Authorities arrested Jean Leroy Hart, a local fugitive, but in court he was acquitted. Later, DNA tests suggested his involvement, but not proof. Decades later, the murders remain unsolved. This is true crime. Subscribe if you can handle the dark truth. 3 little girls went to camp and never came home. June 1977. Camp Scott, Oklahoma. Lori, Michelle,
but I like your shorts because they are actually short. My shorts are long shorts.
Flashlight and bloody shoe print were left behind. Authorities arrested Jean Leroy Hart, a local fugitive.
Yeah, I've been getting good feedback on the longer ones. Like, try to keep them between 22 to 30 seconds. I'm experimenting into the long form. I still have to dial that in, but
yeah, the thing with long form content is that you have to spend more time on it. You know, you got to edit it. It takes longer to edit. It takes longer to check everything. You know, obviously it takes longer to make it, you know, but yeah, thanks for hopping on. I'm glad you were able to do it. You know, I wish somebody would have like reached out to me when I was starting out as a channel. There was so many times I almost didn't keep going. But I think hopefully it'll allow you to, you know, you get the extra experience. I don't know that you'll get a ton of subscribers from my channel yet, but
I'm trying, Rob. And like you were saying earlier, it gets hard sometimes because I'm shelving out 3 shorts a day. It takes me about 12 hours. And, you know, it's watching the subs just tick slowly. And then you got that spiraling mindset being like, is my format crappy? Am I not, my voice not good enough? Is this too gimmicky with the comic book panels? But then you get people that comment and say they love your content. So you're like, okay, well, I'll keep going then. And then you find out about YouTube's audience lock, so that makes you more anxiety. Be like, when's this gonna happen? You know, you're sitting there racking your brains, and it's like good time.
I think you have to, you just have to figure out yourself and what you want to talk about and how you want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like I kind of talked about my other channels today, but I started out doing historical ghost stories. You know, that was the first thing I did. And then after Halloween, like my views dropped. So I'm like, well, I got to do something that's good, you know, all year round. So I started doing true crime on Deliberately Deadly. And that channel didn't get monetized. I had the watch hours, I had the subscribers, and they told me, no, you can't do this. Your content is violating our policy in somehow, some way. And they checked it twice, like a real person checked it, and they couldn't tell me what it was. So I gave up true crime. I'm like, I'm not going to do this. And I started doing historical mysteries, because who doesn't like the Bermuda Triangle stories, you know, right? Like missing people, historical things, conspiracy theories, all of that. And, you know, I got this channel monetized that way. I got like so busy, I couldn't produce any content. And I was like, well, let me see if I could just like use one of my old videos from my other channel, Deliberately Deadly. And I pulled a Chris Watts video, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh man, this isn't that great. And, you know, this is like a year later. So I'm so much better after that much time has passed. So I rewrite it, and that video gets 12,000 views. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I did a couple more true crime, and then I was doing true crime, historical mysteries, and conspiracy theories. And now I'm just doing true crime. And I think it's going to be better in the long run this way. Yeah. But it's a process, and, you know, you're always evolving. As long as you're always trying to get better, I think you will, even if it's a tiny bit. Over time, it becomes huge amounts. So I would just not give up yet.
No, I'm not. I get good feedback. People are saying they like it, so, you know, why not, right? Don't fix something that's not broken. See what happens when audio locks in, hopefully soon. But
well, you can always do lives members only once you get monetized, and say you want to see my face, you have to pay for my membership. Something like that, you know.
Oh, you know, you never know, man. I like to leave the mystery. Maybe I got some Phantom of the Opera stuff happening behind this mask. Who knows, right? I'm secretly Brad Pitt.
Well, you got a different voice, but you could be somebody. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you know what, Rob? It's been an absolute pleasure. And like you said earlier, it's good to reach out. I was very excited when I got that email. So it's like, you know, I like working with other people, right? That have the same interests and can carry a conversation in the subjects, right? So, you know, I was very excited. I was just starting out. I think I only had like 80 subs whenever I got that email. So I was like, is this real? But anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm finally glad that I got to come on a little bit longer than usual. You know, we've been kind of like conflicting schedule-wise. I hope everybody in the channel enjoyed it. Timeless Mysteries, absolutely love the channel. You're great, Rob. Voice is great. Don't give up. Like, don't give up at all, dude. Like, everything happens for a reason, right? And I love your voice. I love your videos, especially your community posts. I love the quizzes. I got to be a little bit more interactive. Just, I'm hyperactive, man. I'm making 3 shorts while I'm working 11-hour shifts. So it's like I'm trying to get around, but it's finally nice to be on. And Olga, I love you. Thank you for the support on my channel too. But yeah, Mally, all you guys are great. Rob, you're absolutely wonderful. Thank you for having me on. And bye, guys. And if you guys are already, I changed my mask again. I got to get used to that. There, yeah. You got to get some weird ninja. All right.
Have a good night.
Hey, have a good night, Rob.
Hey, Lucy, I just changed the Nightbot messages. I was going to take them down, but, you know, I never remember to remind you guys, hey, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Share my channel with your friends if you haven't already, you know. I see it in every live stream from everyone else. That's what they do. And I never do it. I hate asking for things and asking people to subscribe and become members. And you know, Lucky, I've reached out to Zawoki a few times, and we've had a couple chats where he's like, yeah, let's do something. But, you know, he's always busy. You know, he's always doing things. So, I mean, I would be happy to do something with him also. But, you know, there's always, I don't know, there's always something that's coming up. And I know I actually am going to be on call on the weekend. So these live streams might have to be more sporadic. I like having them on Sundays, but I might be actually working overtime with my job. You know, obviously on call doesn't mean I'm going to be working every weekend, but I could be working 1 or 2 weekends here and there. I need the extra money, so it'll be a good thing. But I am still making content, guys. You know, I wrote this big long Chris Watts thing that I was gonna talk about today, but I think I can save it for a whole nother live stream. You know, and I really want to talk more about Nichol Kessinger. I don't think that conversation ever gets old, you know, but the fact that Chris Watts, you know, I know we kind of skipped a bunch of stuff and I'm kind of circling back to what this live stream was about, but God wants me out. That's what Chris Watts said in that conversation we listened to this morning. If you watch the channels or the streams trailer, I cut that clip out. Let me see if I can share that and you guys can hear it again. Is it gonna, let me see. It'll probably, it's never easy to find this stuff unless I find it ahead of time. So there's my channel. Hopefully you guys can see that. This one, obviously it didn't get very many views. It's not really that interesting, but
I just want to get out of here. I want to get, I know that God has a plan for me, and it's to be in prison right now, but not stay here. Because he brought me here for a reason. But he also wants me to do something on the outside.
There is no comfort, no redemption in this life. Chris
I
Watts
use some
is
of my
trapped.
other videos.
Is a hero. He helps me grow up strong.
But yeah, I can't believe he said that ever. I can't believe it at all. Like, it blows my mind that he said that God doesn't want me to be in prison. He wants me to be here right now, but not major. Like, I don't even know if that's actually English, but I think he meant, you know, not like a major stay. I shouldn't be here forever. You know, I'm supposed to be here for now, but that's it. I don't know. I don't know why he thinks that way, but obviously if he thought that there was logic in here, let me close this window here, guys. Like, there's a tractor going in the background. But just, yeah. Lucky I was reading that. I saw that he will get out one day. I was like, what'd you say? And I guess if he ever gets in Gen Pop, he's going to have issues. He's either going to learn how to defend himself or something. I don't think, you know, he does seem fairly muscly, but that doesn't mean anything. You know, those guys in prison, they fight in the streets all the time, and they don't fight fair. So, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to process that he says God wants me out. You know, I wonder if he's still thinking that today. He's sitting behind bars, or I don't know. Is it actually bars? It's probably like an enclosed room thing. I don't know, with glass instead of bars now. But he's serving 5 life sentences and there is no chance of parole. And, you know, after he makes this conversation, he supposedly, if those emails to Sherilyn Cadle are to be believed, you know, and he was writing letters to her about this stuff, he was blaming somebody else for the crimes. and she wrote about it in her books. You know, it kind of adds to this whole mentality of, I don't want to be in prison anymore. And then, you know, his neighbor, his jail neighbor, Dylan Tallman, wrote another book expressing essentially the same thing, but only a little more clearer. Those books, I believe, are not really books, by the way. I know some of you bought them and stuff, and that I just think of a book and I think of actual information in a book, not just, you know, stretching out a couple of paragraphs into a, you know, a book with huge font and huge margins. But yeah, so I don't know, guys, what do you guys want to talk about for the next 10 or 15 minutes? Because I am going to have to get going. If anybody else wants to jump in and jump on the live stream, you don't have to share a video. You can just share your audio if you want. But there's the link again. Yeah, Chris, he said things like, I'm not the person who committed those crimes. He's like, I'm not the guy anymore. But I did not, Molly. Let me go back and look for it. Was it a post in the comments or on my community tab? This one? I will look into that. Somebody actually had me look into the Bob Crane case, and oh my God, I made a short about it, but it's like too complicated. There's like this whole tripod theory for that case. And I'm gonna find out more information until I need to do a little more research before I can write enough about it that I feel confident talking about it in a video. But I'm planning to make a long form video on the Bob Crane story. This guy was an actor who was just brutally murdered. And I guess there was somebody on the phone also. And like, I guess somehow, I don't know much about this tripod theory, but it's crazy to think that it would even be called that. You know, when I think of murder, I always attach it to another person doing the crime. Otherwise, it's an accident, right? But this guy was just found bloody, and he's curled up in the fetal position. His face was kind of hidden, and one of his coworkers who was doing dinner theater with him at the time stopped over for a lunch date. Just like for friends, I think. I don't know. I just read Lucy's comment. Oh, poor Nightbot. I don't hate you. I know it's annoying to see those comments, but guys, honestly, I just can't remember to ask you to hit the little heart button there on the screen. You know, YouTube counts those, and I can see how many I get at the end of every show, and I usually don't get very much. But I think it's because Nightbot was like, "Hey guys, hit that button," like it just did. But I should be saying it. I just forget. It's hard for me to like switch gears. It's hard for me to find things to share after, like, if I have it found, and then I don't know, like it's crazy. Like doing this is weird compared to watching it. But yeah, if any of you guys feel like trying it out, here's that link again. But Molly, so tell me about Hannibal's Lost Boys. If you can. I can Google it later, but and I'm trying to read Lucky's messages. Lucky says he should have found God before he killed his family. That is true. And then I saw it was me. I think I missed a comment in there somewhere. Oh, are you talking about Rob? I already forgot his name. Crane. Rob Crane was also a DJ on a radio station, or was that the friend? Hey, Maribel says, hey, Molly, hop on. Give us a summary of the Hannibal case. A little bit of peer pressure. It's not so hard to talk on here. You know, it is weird to listen back to your own voice. It's also weird to watch yourself in the camera. Well, Molly says 3 boys went missing from Hannibal, Missouri, and never found them. I think there were 30. Let me look this up. I was thinking Hannibal Lecter, but I'm going to Google it, which is never safe to do on a live stream, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm curious. So Hannibal, Missouri is a place. And the most famous case of missing children, it involves Billy Hoag, Hoag, Joey Hoag. If I'm saying that wrong, Hoag, I don't know, Haug, maybe. I don't know how to say it. And Craig Dow. They vanished on May 10th, 1967. They were exploring a cave near a highway construction site. And despite extensive searches, the boys were never found. And their disappearance remains an unsolved mystery. Anytime there's a cave involved, there's always that possibility they fell through a crack that, you know, isn't there anymore. If there was an earthquake, it could have opened, and another one could have closed it. I've seen some really scary movies based on crawling through stuff and getting stuck. There's several like horrible deaths that have happened in similar situations where somebody gets stuck and like lives for a few days stuck. It's like, I'm not claustrophobic, but when I think of those things, I feel claustrophobic. It looks like the leading theory suggests that they were trapped and crushed by a cave-in, like I just kind of speculated on. I don't know much about the case, but it is interesting. I think because it was by a construction site that they think there might be foul play. But I will look into it, and I can definitely cover that. Yeah, Lucky says, yeah, Bob Crane was a DJ. They have movies. Look up Bob Crane files. He was funny. You know, when I was researching the Bob Crane stuff, like I saw some like inflammatory videos of him like being crazy, stalkery, weird. And I don't know, there was like, if you looked at the comments, people are like, well, this is kind of misleading. And this is, you know, I don't know, you know, actors are human too. And humans are all kind of crazy in some way or another. I don't know. I don't care what he did. There's no reason to be murdered. There's just really isn't. And let's see. This Hannibal, Missouri is the home of Mark Twain. I didn't know that. Gacy was in the town. Oh, do they think John Wayne Gacy, whatever his name is, did it or had something to do with it? That's crazy. I definitely need to look into it. And I enjoy researching a lot. I think it's the most fun I have out of the whole process of making content, actually. The second being the writing. The rest is just like, part of what you have to do to present it. And I think the doing the lives is the hardest part of all. At first, it kind of seems easier because people are watching you and, it's interactive. You don't actually have to have a ton of content ready to spew out. But there's different things you need. And it's also very hard work to do live streams. So I have a lot of respect for other creators who spend time. I know there's a couple people I watch that have daily streams at a certain time every single day. And I just wish I could do that. I just have to have a real job still. But not files, flies. What? Sorry. Look up Bob Crane flies. Okay, I'll look that up. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. I would have not noticed that. But I have never really watched Hogan's Heroes. I've seen commercials for the reruns and stuff. The guy was a funny guy. And let me see. I can show you guys. You guys probably already watched my short, but let me see if I can. Well, I'll pull it up here real quick. It's not very long. Just 1 second. Yeah. Oops, I lost my page. See, this is the part that makes me nervous whenever it gets quiet and I'm trying to find something and it's not easy. There we go. I think there, we'll share that screen again. So this I just made after doing a little bit of
on June 29th, 1978. In the sweltering heat of Scottsdale, Arizona, a quiet apartment complex became the scene of unspeakable horror. Victoria Berry, a young actress touring with Bob Crane in a local diner theater production, arrived at his apartment around midday for a lunch meeting. The front door to Unit 132A was unlocked, and when Berry stepped inside the darkened apartment calling out Crane's name, no one answered. With a creeping sense of dread, she ventured into the bedroom, and what she found will haunt her forever.
I know it's I'm a little dramatic with my storytelling, but I'm going to skip ahead here.
Touched by the killer, the scene vicious. Crane looked as if he had been attacked in his sleep. There was no signs of a struggle. In fact, nothing in the bedroom or the rest of the apartment was disturbed at all. Now, imagine being Victoria Berry. Standing.
That is my worst nightmare right there. Being that person who walks into a room with something like this. I don't think I could survive it. Like, I think I would go crazy. I don't think I can handle it. It is one of my worst nightmares. But if you guys haven't watched that video, go check it out. It's on my shorts page. But I'm going to have to hop off here, guys. But I had a lot of fun with you all tonight, and I'm glad there were so many of you here. Make sure that you hit the like button and rewatch later. Even if you watch it with it on mute, I think it counts. You can just let it play in the background where, if you want to help me out. But I do have more content coming. The current project that I'm working on is one about the woman from Maine who went out paddleboarding and didn't come back. It is a very interesting story. And if you go back to the beginning of this, you can actually see a little preview of that, because I talked about it a little bit before we got started. I see Lucky says another one. He asked some questions. He recorded the answers. And then he asked different questions with the same answers. It was funny. Yeah, those are funny. I actually have seen some of those just recently. So, yeah, I'm glad that somebody brought this story to my attention, because I wouldn't have found it otherwise, I don't think. I find these types of stories interesting, especially when, it just seems so unlikely that, like, how does somebody not get caught? It's unsolved to this day. And I know we speculate here on the Watts case a lot. But if you look back at the Golden State Killer case, there was this massive amount of speculation on a particular part of one of the murders that was tied to it. The same guy, but he had two different monikers at the time. They didn't know that they were all related, but there was this diamond knot. You can look it up. I bet you just type in diamond knot, it'll pull up the case. There was all of this speculation on why that particular knot was used. There was suggestions that, this guy was about to become a judge and he was targeted, and then maybe the wife knew too much and they were targeted. But there was this massive amount of speculation that all proved to be wrong. It was just random killings. The guy walked through neighborhoods until he found the right house. And yeah, but yeah, have a good night, guys. I'll catch you in the next video.